Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of tea or coffee if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a woman with a kid who tried to steal OP's dogs and assaulted OP. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. This story doesn't involve me directly, but I witnessed my first Karen incident at the gym today. A bit of explanation about the layout of the gym swimming pool and locker rooms. There are 4 locker rooms for people who want to go swimming. Male, female, disabled, and family, where parents and children can go to get ready instead of going into either the male or female locker rooms, as the age limit for children of the opposite gender to their parent, a male child going with a female parent or vice versa, is 8 years old. This is important later. In the locker room, there was a girl who looked to be about 16 years old. She wasn't indecent, she had on her bra and underwear, as well as a towel around her waist, and she was in her locker trying to get her clothes. I was almost ready to leave, and was maybe 4 or 5 lockers down from her. Usually, I don't pay any attention to what happens in the locker room, but today I couldn't help but notice one woman, this is REM, looking horrified. Now, this woman was in her late 20s, early 30s, and was getting her son, a boy of maybe 2 or 3 years old, ready to go swimming. She didn't look like a typical Karen type and didn't really give off any indication that she was going to go off on one. But then, she did. This woman, with her horrified expression, walked over to the girl and tapped her on the shoulder. The girl jumped, clearly surprised that someone was talking to her. She turned, and before she even turned to speak, EM started talking. "You shouldn't be dressed like that in public. Now let me just remind everyone, so we're on the same page. This is the female locker room for a gym swimming pool. It is not uncommon for women to walk around in just towels, or their underwear, or even stand around naked, rare, but it happens. There is nothing out of the ordinary about a teenage girl in her underwear and a towel." Said girl is startled. "What? You're not dressed decently. You should cover up." The girl didn't say anything and turned around to try and get dressed. M did not like this. "Excuse me? Look at me when I'm talking to you." The girl turned around and gave her an "Are you serious?" look, but EM didn't think anything of it and kept going. "You shouldn't be naked in public. Especially not in front of my son. I don't want my son exposed to the female body while he is so young." At this point, I'm looking around and making eye contact with other people in the locker room, confirming that this was actually happening and I wasn't just imagining it. I exchanged looks with 3 or 4 other women, almost all of them accompanied by their own children. Nobody seemed to agree with this EM's opinion. The girl was visibly annoyed. "What the hell are you talking about? I'm trying to get dressed, so leave me alone and stop being a creep." "I'm the creep. You're the one showing off your body to my son. You're trying to distract my son. What the duck, he's a toddler. I just want to get dressed in peace, lady." EM wasn't finished. "I am going to speak to a member of staff and get you banned. In fact, you should be freaking arrested. Public nudity is a crime, you know." At this point, one of the other mothers speaks up. "She's allowed to be in her underwear in the swimming changing room. Why are you having a fit about that? It's stupid." EM did not expect this reaction. "Because my son should not be exposed to the female body like that at such a young age." Other mother was in attack mode. "Did you breastfeed your son?" "Of course. It's healthier for the baby." "Then why is it a crime for your son to see a teenage girl in a bra when he fed from your breasts?" "Because that's different. I was feeding my baby, but this girl has other motivations." By this point, I had been ready to leave for about 5 minutes, but I was just sticking around for the drama. However, I was getting tired of EM and her backwards logic. So I pitched in as well. "Miss, if you are so against your son seeing women dressed so indecently, why did you choose to come into the female locker room instead of the family changing room?" And then the third contributor chimed in with, "Why are you taking your child swimming in a place where he can see women in swimsuits which show off her bodies if you don't want him to see women's bodies?" This threw EM off her game for a moment before she tried to claw her way back. "Well, most women wear a one-piece swimming costume. And it would be unfair on me to be segregated from other women by going into the family room." At this point I rolled my eyes, said "Whatever, lady," and walked out of the locker room. I have no idea how much longer EM went on her rant or if anything else even happened. It was my first real-life experience with an EM out in full force, so it was a bit of a wild ride from start to finish, but I hope I don't run into another one again. I hope that the teenager was able to leave the locker room without much hassle. To be honest, that just draws more attention to the fact that they are in underwear. When EMs confront this with their children, the child takes it more into account. Incredibly irritating. Okay, a little background on my town before we begin. I live in a suburban town in Indiana. Our town is about 45% Hispanic heritage and about 45% European heritage, with a 10% other. We're kind of poor, the majority of the town being lower middle class, with some notable exceptions, that damn housing project. What we do have is education. We test higher than almost any other school in the state, so we as a city get tens of millions of dollars that unusually get wasted on swimming pools and such. A little background on my first job. I worked at the Boys and Girls Club. For you non-Americans, it's like a mass babysitting operation, but there's homework help. My job was to take 7th hour to bike to the BGC. It counted as a service credit, even though I got paid. Swap into my uniform, wait, sign the elementary kids in, take their bags, and then when they are all there, go to the elementary room and keep them from getting bored and committing mutiny. I was 14 at the time, short for my age and a real squeaker, but formal as all get out and eager to make money, I mean help the community. EM. Edible macaroni. EK. Endangered cola. OY. Old Yeti, the manager, older, chubby, hairy gentleman that everyone loves. Me. Microwavable evergreens. This story takes place during my first week of work. I was waiting for the people to come storming in when I glanced from my seat into the parking lot. The entryway was made of glass, and both rooms on either side have massive windows, so I could see the parking lot fairly easily from my seat, and this Ferrari, a literal Ferrari, in our sleepy town, pulls up into a parking spot. It's 2:30, I had just changed, none of the elementary schools are out yet. As I stare in awe of this beauty of a car, in comes EM and EK. Hello, I'd like to drop my kid off. Is he registered at this or the nearby town, Boys and Girls Club? No. Fill out one of those, take the safety waiver. That's a lot of work, do I have to? It is a page and a half, it's not that bad, and yes, you have to. EM takes the paper, mumbling something about not my job and jerk kids these days. She fills it out, takes her about 6 minutes. I've put my book away and gotten my supplies out, ready for the first of 7 waves of kids. She saunters over to my desk and hands me the papers. I go to make a copy to give to her, as well as to put the paper on the scanner, so he's in our database. EM starts to walk off. Ma'am. You need your copy. Okay, just give it to me. Also, you didn't pay, it's $15 a year for our services. For you non-Americans, that's about the price of a golf pencil per day, literally less expensive than the wheat in the free snack. I'm not paying that. Ma'am, we provide free access to a snack, computers, a large library, a gym, arts and crafts, and valuable friendships, all at no extra charge. My little kid's name should get it for free, he's a good kid academically. He's in 2nd grade, what the hell could this snot magnet have done? If you register through any school in the hometown school system, they could give you a reduced price for academic excellence. Can't you do it? Just then, you hear the bell at the elementary school next door to the BGC. I had about 150 seconds until hell's armies would come in and chaos would descend for the next 5 hours. OY also walks by, and I breathe a sigh of relief. Hey old Yeti. Can you help with this lovely lady over here? Translation. Can you give this witch the business end of a stern talking to? Just give it to me. EK runs off into the K2 room, not technically registered or signed in. I would love to, but I have to help Chef Johnny make the cereal bars for snack. Translation. Hell no, I ain't got the patience for her. Ma'am, I am not an authority to give you anything for free. If you do not just hand over $15, I will have to call kid's name to the front desk and have you two leave. The gates of hell open, loud, smelly, and wanting to play with their friends. Another employee stops them where the entryway meets the commons, saving me a headache, but I knew waves 2 and 3 were no more than 5 minutes away. Dear God, people in this town are so stupid, I just want it for free. Listen, ma'am, I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes signing kids in, then I have to deal with their crap for another 5 goddamn hours. I will almost certainly need to clean up at least one kid who didn't bother to use the restroom. I will likely have to clean a Wii remote, so it doesn't give some kid diphtheria or some crap. I'm ranting now, I have to deal with almost 200 immature kids for minimum wage. I will graciously add your little pile of dog crap to that list, a prediction of that child that was correct. He was on thin ice for the entire time I was there, but I will not, and I repeat not, deal with an adult more immature than the children, so either pay the $15 or get you and your snot bag the hell out of this establishment. I hear the lady that was keeping hell at bay mumble damn. Here you go sir. Thank you and have a lovely day. She handed me $100 bill. Just that little extra work to give her change still angers me to this day. By this time, wave 2 had arrived and she had gotten a ticket for parking in a handicapped spot. I didn't clear the entryway until after wave 5, leaving me exhausted for the rest of my shift. The kid almost got banned several times for attempting to harm staff members, namely me, and OY died just last month, and a memorial to his work now stands in the playground. No offense against your job, OP, but the BGC is terrible. As a parent, you think this is going to be great. Homework time, active play, movies and snacks. Sounds like a great time for the kids until you get off work. I'm 17 female. Cast. EM. Entitles Mom Duh Me. Marvelous Elephant EK. Little crap around 6 or 7 NK. Nice kid, girl around 14, EK's older sister, PO1. Police officer, PO2. Other police officer. Backstory. I live close to a very nice park that I usually take my 2 wonderful doggos to. You should know in advance, one of my dogs is cute and small, but squeaks a lot and the other one is fat and tall and sassy as hell. There is also a very nice pond in the middle of the park. The story. It's just a regular day, or so I thought, and I'm walking my dogs in the park. I could tell they were getting thirsty, so we go and stop near the pond where they can drink some water, which they are allowed to do. Just as we are about to leave, EK comes up to me with NK, and the following conversation goes like this. Hi, my brother was wondering if he could pet your dogs. She said this in a very polite way, so I obliged. And they started petting the dogs. This is a very sweet dog, can I have him? I was taken aback and about to tell him no when NK said, EK, we talked about this. Just because mom gives you everything you want doesn't mean you can act like this in public. Walks over and starts punching her in the stomach. NK fell over in pain and started yelling at him to stop. Hey. Stop that right now. I was yelling pretty loud, so obviously he got scared and jumped off her and began to cry. Enter EM. Don't you yell at my son that way, you horse. Yeah, you horse. I wouldn't have yelled, but EK was repeatedly punching NK and wouldn't stop when she told him to. So what, she probably deserved it. Yeah, she said I couldn't have those dogs. Looking at my dog since you were so rude to my son, give him your dogs now before I call the police. No, you psycho witch, you can't have my dogs. EM then walks over to me and pushes me into the pond and starts gathering my dog's leashes. Luckily, I have taught my dogs how to escape their leashes in case of an emergency, so they manage to quickly slip out and jump into the pond to save me. EM then proceeds to keep my head under the water. Now, I told you about my sassy dog, so my big dog gets out of the water and pushes EM to the ground and sits on her. I get out of the water with squeaks and get my other dog off EM. That rabid dog just abused me. No she didn't, she just stopped you from drowning me. EM walks toward me and slaps me in the cheek. But what shocked me most was that NK walked over to EM and punched her square in the jaw. By now a passerby must have called the police because when EM was about to punch NK, a police officer cuffed her. Ma'am, you must be restrained while we sort this out. Girls come with me, EK you stay with EM. Me and NK walked over to a bench and sat down with the officer. We told him exactly what happened and later found out NK was getting abused by EM. PO2. Ma'am, you are under arrest for attempted theft, child abuse, assault, and attempted murder. In the end, EM ended up kicking one of the officers while screaming, and she also got charged with assault of an officer. NK and EK were taken into custody by their uncle and aunt, and I pressed charges on EM and got thousands. EM went to jail for 2 years, and when she gets out she will be put on probation. Never steal a dog that is trained to escape a leash and protect their owner from danger. That woman got what was coming. I, 27F, am pregnant with my first child with my husband, 29M. We still haven't decided on a first name for our child, but I made the choice, which my husband wholeheartedly supports, to give her the middle name of a deceased friend of mine whom I loved very much. My dear Mil visited us over the weekend and not only trashes our home, but pays me no mind at all during her entire visit. All she does is fuss over how my husband is going to be a dad and she's going to be a grandma, ignoring the woman literally carrying her grandchild. The most interaction she has had with me so far is barking orders at M. On Sunday night during dinner, however, after she insulted my cooking, she turned to my husband and said, "So dear, what name are you going to give the baby?" I piped up since I'm fed up with her acting like my husband is the one who's carrying her grandkid. "Well, Mrs. X, we haven't decided on a first name yet, but her middle name will be the aforementioned friend's name in honor of one of my best friends who died a few years back. If you have any suggestions for her first name, we'd be more than happy to hear them." This woman turns and gives me the dirtiest look I've ever received in my life. She proceeds with a long stupid rant. "First of all, why was I not informed that you had already made a choice regarding my granddaughter's name? Did you even consult my husband when you decided to give the baby that name? Look, I'm sure your friend was a great person, but I don't approve of the name at all. I'm sorry, the person may have been nice, but the name isn't nice at all. Instead of honoring the girl by naming my grandbaby after her, why don't you honor her by raising the child to be a good, religious, pious lady?" "Oh wait, you can't. I suppose. You're lazy, good for nothing, useless idiot. You're the opposite of what a mom should be. I'm ashamed that you're carrying my grandchild," which. At this point, I left and cried up in my room. From what I heard, my husband yelled at her for what she said and kicked her out. As of now, I've blocked her on everything and had my husband withdraw ourselves from Christmas dinner with his side of the family. The whole ordeal also reminded me of the trauma of losing the friend I mentioned. I really hope my daughter doesn't inherit anything from that awful woman. If she says she's ashamed that you're carrying her grandchild, she definitely has no reason, need, or possible chance of ever meeting her grandchild that she'll be so ashamed of. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a man who broke the rules and let his kid assault other people and finally get what he deserved. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.